be learned in class, discussion. The second thing is what you need to do in your life, do business, whatever. This is normally called vocational or technical components of that particular knowledge. And this is the problem. Sometimes we are not able to differentiate between these two. Values must be learned at a certain level in your life. But what you need to do in life must be tailored to what you want to do at that particular point of time. Otherwise, you find it useless.
Okay, what sort of values? I'm sorry, I have to jump in.
Values, say for example...
Because if the value is do not question authority...
No, one of the values is to respect knowledge, to respect people with knowledge. And if I behave like that in front of him, I will pose question in different manner. Say for example, that is respect, as well as challenging at the same time. That's important. Yeah. The third thing, which I think very important for us in Malaysia, is not to be stereotyped in education. I visited a few universities recently. I found that some universities are experimenting a lot of things beyond our imagination. Say, for example, one university in Denmark, it is project-based university. You have to make up your own syllabus. If you want to become Tony Fernandes in the future, so what makes you Tony Fernandes? You need to learn some A, B, C, and then you make up that subject. You take classes based on that subject.
Right.
Yeah. So this is what they have done, and they
modular
have
thinking.
This
modular
is
courses.
what they call as project-based learning. So this is what many universities, including my university, is doing at the moment.
So in future, a student can come to your university and say, I would like to study, I would like to do something in the arts, performing arts elective, as well as biology.
Make up that. Say, for example, at the moment, we have ready-made menu for our students.
Right.
That is about 95% in Malaysia overall. So I would say that a good academic program in university should be about 50%. Fixed menu, the rest 50% should be created by the student themselves.
Can I ask Professor one question?
Yep.
Why is every university called University of Malaysia? In terms of, creating cultures and creating brands and creating areas, I find it I always get confused all the different universities. And I mean, I think your university is highly innovative and highly progressive in thinking.
Yeah.
But that would attract a certain group of students and a certain group of academia. But if you go outside of Malaysia, people actually get confused with all the different. They're all University of Malaysia, some
in between.
Yeah. So sometimes I say this because I think branding is very important.
Yeah.
Of course.
And creating the culture, and creating the environment, and breaking away from the silo.
All right.
Environment, because I think his university is really kind of out there. He's trying new things. He's always sending me emails. Do this? Can I send my people here? He's really thinking. But I think out there it's very hard to brand what he's doing because it's kind of in that big ecosystem.
All right. Well, that's your opportunity now to suggest a possible rebranding, the out there university.
Well, I think university must move forward. There are things that we cannot change. Say, for example, names, which, I mean, many years or...
It's really University of Johor, isn't it?
No. So, thinking aloud, I think what is important, the component of the academic programs must be emphasized. What we are trying to do in UTM is to have a new academia, we call it. Say, for example, I give you two criteria. One of them is the professors, who are the teaching staff. They must be normal professor and people in practice, those in business, entrepreneurs, policymakers, they must come forward to teach. And we must create this. I would like when a person retired as minister or corporate leaders, their future work is to teach in university. That kind of environment must be available in the country. But in our countries, we have rigid, you don't have PhD, you cannot come to our university as teaching staff. So this should be redefined.
And this is what I'm driving the point.
Right.
The rigidity and the unwillingness to change. I think I've many times said, why isn't it called University of Johor or University of East Malaysia? because it's a very small point, and it's much bigger than, it's a very small compared to this program, but it highlights that if we want to be innovative, we have to be prepared for change. And just on a small point of naming, it's a huge issue. It's a huge issue. And you go to London, it's very clear. You go to America, there's Harvard, there's Yale, there's it's all kind of, so what I'm trying to say is that I think rigidity kills innovation. I am sure, Professor, I will say things probably that I'm not supposed to say, can do 100 things more. He isn't constrained by Ministry of Education or what Minister says.
No, they are helping me anyway.
But I think, which is where I'm leading to, that government should foster innovation as well and trust the people and allow ideas.
But Tan Sri, what you see as flexibility, others see as, gee, that's tantamount to chaos.
Well, correct, and that's why lots of times in Parliament, I'm like, lots of MPs want to hung, draw, and quarter me, because I'm just saying what's good for the business, what's good for the country, what's good for the people. But sometimes that's like, seen as civil disobedience or whatever. We have to change that mindset.
All right, against that, very quickly before we go into our next break, what's one innovation that will take Malaysia to the next level?
Education. And that's a big story, but what I mean is we got to be brave. The language of innovation is English.
Okay.
And we have to be brave to do it. If we want to, language is key. And bringing back art, culture, and sport will change the way our kids think.
Innovation must start with yourself.
Yeah.
If I were to say something, let's do one innovation a day in your life. And innovation not necessarily flying an aircraft.
Yeah.
Innovation can start with your routine work. So let's start one innovation per day.
Okay, what would you start with?
I'll start?
Yes, what
I'm
would
not
you
wearing tie tonight.
All right, we'll watch you. We'll send a little camera to follow you and make sure. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, more on the subject of innovation. Please stay with us.